Oh, hello, good evening. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We are live from the news hub at WAEC and also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. I am Alfred Okanse. Tonight, here on Ghana Tonight, the Supreme Court ends what has been a busy week with an annulment of the High Court ruling which ordered the recollection and declaration of results of 4 constituencies under dispute following the December parliamentary elections. We'll get into the specific orders of the Apex Court and what it means for the constituencies under dispute. Despite all of these issues playing out, Electoral Commission has already submitted the gazetted election results to Parliament. What next? That's a conversation we'll have tonight. Also, we're going to give you a reprieve at the end insight following another tranche of payment by the Ministry of Education to WAEC in order to clear the debt owed and facilitate the release of the WASSCE results at the end of the month. Well, WAEC itself has been speaking. We'll touch base with them. Also, the New Patriotic Party seems to be on a revamp as it continues to sack its members. In a recent move, 184 members, this time the Yendi constituency, have been marched out of the party. We'll be in the northern region with our correspondent on more on this particular issue. Stay with us. As always, you're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. Well, let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
The Supreme Court has quashed the decision of the High Court, which ordered the recollation and declaration of result of Okaikwe Central, Ablekuman North, Teiman South, and Tema Central. The court, in a unanimous 5-0 ruling, also ordered the High Court to rehear the application of the National Democratic Congress on the disputed result of the 4 constituencies. Some parliamentary candidates whose seats were being contested spoke to our news team.
We're happy that our confidence in the law has, borne its fruits, and we're happy to go and continue. I think it's important that everybody understands that this is just the beginning of our work. And I think that this experience equips us to be able to represent all our people a lot better.
I think it's a good day for country. The whole world is watching, not just Ghana. So I think it's just the beginning of coming together as one people. And then I think it redeems the image to an extent of our courts and our judges. So it's all well and good.
Investiture ceremony of the 3rd Vice-Chancellor of the University of Professional Studies in Accra, UPSA, Professor John Kwekumen Samawuto, has been held amidst opposition from some old students who accused him of not being qualified for the role. The group also accused Professor Mawuto of being a known communicator for the governing New Patriotic Party. He takes over from Professor Abednego Amate, whose tenure ends on December 31st, 2024, after overseeing 8 years of unprecedented growth at UPSA.
I pledge that by leveraging existing gains and adopting a strategic approach to repositioning UPSA as a global hub for innovation and sustainable development, I am confident I will inspire a new generation of creative thinkers and problem solvers who are committed to make a difference.
The West African Examinations Council WAEC has confirmed receiving 35 million Ghana cedis from the Ministry of Education for the processing of the 2024 West African Senior School Certificate Examination WASSCE result for school candidate. The release is to enable WAEC to complete the scanning of the objective cards and the result of candidate. The ministry had on December 18, 2024 released 25 million Ghana cedis to WAEC. So far, 60 million cedis has been released out of 118 million cedis. The overlord of the Gonja Kingdom, Yagbonwura B. Kunutu Jeuswale, has admonished President-elect John Dramani Mahama to fulfill his social contract with Ghanaians. According to the Yagbonwura, the renewal of Mahama's mandate is a clear testament to his exemplary works during his previous administration.
Renewal of your mandate is a clear testament to your exemplary work during your previous tenure as President of the Republic of Ghana. Posterity has vindicated your efforts. Ghanaians have expressed their confidence in you and in your ability to confront challenges, create opportunities, and drive the developmental agenda for our nation to new heights. As you embark on this new chapter, I must remind you that you have entered a social contract with the people of Ghana. I urge you to appoint those who possess both integrity and a genuine commitment to serve the nation.
Energy expert Dr. Yusuf Suleimana has renewed calls for the privatization of Ghana's power distribution and revenue mobilization to address the sector's inefficiencies. The country's power sector faces numerous challenges, including inefficient distribution and revenue collection, with distribution losses standing at around 30%.
As it currently stands, I believe the revenue arm of it is what we need to look at seriously. If you can get a private sector with a proven track record that can take that part of it, that aspect of an ECG, and manage it. And what we need to do, the government just need to stay out, provide some key deliverables to whoever private sector player that has a proven track record to be able to champion that.
There's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, the Supreme Court has quashed an order by the Accra High Court for the Electoral Commission to collate the parliamentary results of 4 constituencies in the December 2024 elections. Now, what happened earlier today is that the affected constituencies, as we do know, Okaikwe Central, Teiman Central, Teiman South, and Ablekuma North. This is one that has generated a lot of conversation ahead of that Tuesday date that this High Court is expected to sit to decide on the matter going forward. But earlier today, the Supreme Court quashed an order by the Accra High Court for the Electoral Commission to collate the parliamentary results of 4 constituencies in the December 2024 elections. Now, we're talking about Okaikwe Central, Teiman Central, Teiman South, and Ablekuma North. We saw what happened last week, Saturday. That's at the Electoral Commission's offices, the Greater Accra Region Office of the Electoral Commission, where this collation was done and redeclarations made in the case of Teiman Central and Okaikwe Central, and also Teiman South. For Ablekuma North, that issue was not resolved last week because the returning officer there indicated that he cannot continue the process without the presence of the NDC. Now, what's happening is that the Electoral Commission now, based on the electoral laws of Ghana and the reference and the judgment by the Supreme Court today, the status quo has been restored as per the time when the declarations were made during the election period. This is what happened at the Supreme Court earlier today. Take a look.
It was plain to the trial judge that the clients of Mr. Godwin Eduji Temaklu stood to be affected by the proceedings in the mandamus application. And the least he could have done was to grant them a hearing on the facts and the law upon which the application was brought. Our courts and all courts, especially in the common law tradition, have held this right to a hearing so sacrosanct that under the circumstances of this case, the applicant ought to have been given a hearing, notwithstanding or irrespective of the provisions of Order 4, Rule 5 of CI 47 on joinder generally and Order 55 on judicial review. In the case of Awuni versus West Africa Exams Council 2003-2004, Supreme Court of Ghana Law Report, the Supreme Court quashed a decision of an administrative body, that is the West Africa Examination Council for failure to accord persons a right to a hearing. The statute under which the West Africa Examination Council functioned did not expressly confer a right to a hearing, but the Supreme Court held that the West Africa Examination Council ought to have accorded those affected a right, since the right to a hearing had been elevated to a constitutional right in Article 23. If that had been held to bind administrative bodies, how much more a court of law? In the case of ex parte Hawa Yakubu, the High Court in Bolgatanga made orders in an election matter which affected Hawa Yakubu, a candidate at the election. And though she was a non-party, the Supreme Court held that on the facts in the case, the High Court violated her right to be heard and quashed the orders of the High Court. The interested parties say that because Mr. Godwin Edwidge Temeklo was allowed by the trial judge to speak, he was accorded a hearing. But they must realize that he was allowed to speak as a friend of the court, as recorded by the judge himself, and not as counsel for the applicants. This is an unfortunate misunderstanding of what amounts to a hearing in the mandamus application of this nature. Hearing plainly required the applicants to have filed an affidavit in the matter and to have made legal submissions. In this case, none of that happened, so the trial judge violated the right to a hearing of the applicants. Now to our orders. We have taken note of the fact that the applicants did not contend that there had been earlier completed collations in respect of Nsawam Adwajiri and Ahafwano North constituencies per paragraph 8 of the affidavit sworn to by Fifi Fiabi Kwete dated 16 December in support of the motion for judicial review filed by the applicants on 16 December 2024. Since the orders which have been brought to be quashed are separate and distinct, we have decided to exercise our discretionary power to quash by certiorari, having regard to the peculiar circumstances of each ruling.
So that's Justice Gabriel Paman, who is the president of the 5-member justice who sat on this particular case and delivered this ruling earlier today, effectively quashing the recollated and redeclared results in these 4 constituencies that we're talking about: Teiman Central, Okaikwe Central, Ablekuma North, and then also Teiman South. Now, the other 4 justices who sat on this particular case, together with Justice Gabriel Paman, we're talking about Justice Jehu, Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, and Justice J. Frimpong, and then Justice Anthony Kofi. They made up the 5 justices who sat on this matter. It was a unanimous decision, as a matter of fact. You can say 5-0 for that matter. But look at this. So what it means is that even though after Saturday, the Electoral Commission, after they did their recollation, declared Patrick Yagbonwura as MP-elect for Okaikwe Central, what this ruling effectively means is some lawyers have expressed the view, reverting to the status quo of what happened or what was the case before the High Court decision. But we see as well in Teiman Central. On Saturday, Charles Forson was declared MP-elect. But then again, before that, the Electoral Commission had declared Ebi Bright as MP-elect for Teiman Central. For WASSCE East, and that's what we're going to be finding out from the NDC, why they did not add or argue the WASSCE East case today. Are they going to take up the WASSCE East case at another fora? Because the WASSCE East situation actually follows in the same stead of what we saw in Teiman Central and then also Okaikwe Central, where there was a declaration of Samuel Abuaji, that's the NDC parliamentary candidate for the WASSCE East constituency, as MP-elect on the 9th of December. But then again, afterwards, days after, the Electoral Commission did the recollection that was on Saturday and declared Patrick Waje Iadom as MP-elect on the ticket of the MPP for the WASSCE East constituency. We didn't see that being now reversed today. We'll find out from the NDC why this is the case, or why it was just the 4 constituencies that this particular ruling today by the Supreme Court is limited to. But some lawyers have made a case that there may be a legal challenge in the coming days, and that the NDC, for instance, now cannot take this to be a victory in totality because of the circumstances at play. Now, what happened in court today was the court simply saying that for the fact that they were not giving a hearing during the mandamus application at the High Court by the MPP, they should go back so that they will be heard. Now, that has 2 possible outcomes. Either it will be granted again or it will not be granted. And here's what the lawyers make the case, that there's also that other situation where the MPP may just decide to go back to court and withdraw that application so that that Tuesday hearing, that's the 31st December hearing, may not even happen at all. Now, even if with the possible outcome from that High Court hearing, whether it is granted or not, there's even a bigger challenge where the Electoral Commission has already declared the results for these 4 constituencies. They have gazetted the results for these 4 constituencies that the courts have ruled today that the Electoral Commission declaration doesn't hold. In fact, there's a rate of elections that has been submitted to the Clerk of Parliament indicating who has won these seats in whichever constituency, the 4 we are talking about. In fact, registration has already started, and some of the MPs, as we're learning or were communicated to by the memo from Parliament, should have already started the process of registration online. So how is the NDC going to deal with all of this? And what does this really mean in law is that the EC has performed all the functions it has to perform in respect of that election. And that's why they say the EC has become functus officio. Now, let's bring in Dr. Asitanko Computer right now. And we're working on the telephone lines to get through to Haruna Mohammed, who's Deputy General Secretary of the MPP. But Dr. Asitanko, appreciate your time. Certainly we can heave a sign of relief with what's happened today, is it not? At least based on the Supreme Court's ruling today on these 4 constituencies.
Yeah, Alfred, let me say good evening to you and your cherished viewers and the good people of Bimbilla and Williamsey constituencies. Alfred, clearly, you remember I've been telling you all along with all the interviews you had with me that what the EC was involved in was a complete illegality. And I knew that this will come to pass because what happened at the High Court on the 20th of December was complete travesty of justice. I mean, it defied logic. The ruling by the High Court, the trial judge who sat on the matter completely. And you saw what happened. You saw how the Supreme Court tactically and magnanimously reprimanded him for what he did. It just didn't make sense. And if we had allowed it to glide, dangerous precedent was going to set in this country. And our democracy would have been in shambles. It would have been in shambles, and our electoral system would have been in tatters. And so we as a political party, NDC, we are grateful to the Supreme Court for arresting this kind of illegality that the Electoral Commission that has constituted itself into some lawless institution of late, just misbehaving and trying to get away with it. They did that in 2020 and got away. So they thought this time around, the NDC is going to fold its arms and allow them to get away with that kind of illegality that they have been doing. After what is the matter? It's a simple issue. The issue is about collation of resource. And we all know that the CI want to serve, like I've been saying all along. Regulation 43 is very clear about how collation is done. Now, if the returning officer who is clothed with the power of declaring resource at the Constituency Collation Center for parliamentary election, when he satisfies himself that I've done the processes, I've gone through all the processes of collating the resource and declare the resource, he cannot come back and do another collation again and do another declaration. It's not done. We don't have it. In fact, we don't have any singular of evidence of that nature. Even the examples they used to give of 2004, this was not the incident. We are talking of declarations. Now, if you look at all their examples they gave, none of them involved declarations. They were just like process of collation. Something happened, they couldn't finish the collation. They regroup in another place to do the collation and complete. Or they were counting and something happened, they couldn't finish the counting. They managed to salvage the boxes, run to the regional capital and do recounting or recollation and now declare. And our case now is about declarations. Alfred, that is our case. And then so when the trial judge refused to listen to us and admit us into that matter, we knew that there was a collision somewhere. Well,
but you raised the question of bias today. Your lead counsel, Godwin Teiman, raised it that the court did not agree essentially with him on that particular question of bias.
Alfred, I said they magnanimously agreed to it by asking that the gentleman should step aside. By asking him to step aside from the matter. It was a complete reprimand. First, they quash his decisions. Second, they asked him to step aside from the matter. He shouldn't hear the case again. What does that mean? It's a tacit way of reprimanding him for what he did. Clearly, he just pushed the law into the gutter and started to do his own thing. And did his own thing at the end of it. And thought that the NDC was going to be cowed into that kind of ruling. We will not accept this. And I've been saying that's why we refuse it. We rejected it completely.
Well, but
today, the laws have risen with us. And they've seen that, yes, natural justice demand that they should have allowed us to join the matter because those decisions he did. Subsequently, what did they do? The Electoral Commission, the following day, quickly started declaring 7 seats for MPP in a row. That kind of charade they did over there.
Well, it is that particular reference you just made about what happened on Saturday because the Electoral Commission acted on the orders of the High Court, which decision has been quashed today. Now, what's happening is that, and some have argued that you may be faced with, even though you have a reprieve today, you may be faced with a bigger challenge. The Electoral Commission, we understand, has already submitted a writ to the clerk to Parliament. We understand that these results have been gazetted, and then also the MPs have started registration already. So how is this ruling going to remedy the process that is already in motion?
All the processes has now been arrested by the ruling by the Supreme Court today. It means invariably it doesn't exist. That's what it means. All the gazette notification, the letters sent to the clerk of Parliament, all are moot. There are issues that doesn't exist. By the ruling of the Supreme Court, it means they have to start all over again. They have to completely come and start all over. So if they even send the gazette notification to the Ghana Publishing Company, they have to withdraw it completely. It means it doesn't exist. Whatever they did over there, you remember I told you it was a Burunya package they were giving to themselves, and that it was not going to cross to New Year. And it came to pass. You know my prediction. I predicted that was a Burunya package. They were just giving themselves. It won't go anywhere. And actually, it came to pass. Nothing is going to happen after it. We are going back to the court. Now, I heard you talk about the issue of WASSCE.
We're gonna come there for the WASSCE. Is this an automatic, as it were, consequence of the ruling today that even though the results have been gazetted and in fact the rate of elections sent to the clerk of Parliament indicating who has won these constituencies, effectively this ruling would reverse this process? Is that what the consequence of this ruling is?
Yes. It means all action taken after the High Court orders have been quashed. They have been set aside. And you know, all these things, they took it after the High Court. They went Saturday and did their oath. In Monday, they quickly went and gazetted the action they took on the Saturday and all that. So all that has been set aside. So it doesn't exist completely. So they now have to come and do re-gazette. Maybe they might decide to take away the 4 constituencies and gazette another group. You know, they gazetted 274, right? So now if they take off the 4, that means they can only gazette 270. And so that we battle them out with the other 4 in the High Court, that the mandamus thing they are talking about. We'll go and battle them over there with it.
I see. And for the WASSCE East, and that's one reference I made earlier, the fact that the circumstances in WASSCE East fits in what happened in Okakwe Central, Teiman Central, and then also Teiman South. But then again, we didn't see WASSCE East as a subject of this ruling today. Why is that?
Yes, you see, what happened is that when they brought their writ of mandamus to the High Court, they removed WASSCE East. WASSCE East was not part of their writ. It wasn't part of it. They removed it. And as well as this place, I have found Southwest. That one too, they didn't add it. And Domi Kwabenya. You see, they didn't add those ones. They cleverly removed those ones and just hinge on 6 areas. That was what they filed over there. Now, when they got this ruling, interestingly enough, Electoral Commission, surreptitiously and secretly through backdoor, added WASSCE is into their declarations, and that of Hafano Southwest. The two of them were smuggled into the Saturday declaration they did at their offices there. So, but the mandamus, the case that we are fighting in court, didn't include these two.
So the court order a week ago did not include WASSCE East and Ahafano Southwest.
It didn't include WASSCE and Ahafano Southwest, and that of Domi Kwabenya. It didn't include that.
But then we saw re-declarations made on Saturday by the Electoral Commission.
Good. That's why we are saying that we are coming in another form to deal with that matter. It means they smuggle it in, and you know, we didn't participate. But it was when they started doing the declaration, announcing it on TV and radio, that we got to know that they've added WASSCE East and that of Ahafano Southwest. And we're preparing to work on Domi Kwabenya. Meanwhile, it wasn't part of the one they sent to the High Court. The ruling of the High Court, none of these 3 constituencies were part of it. And so they were just doing some illegality behind the scene, using the ruling they got from the High Court to expand their frontiers into all illegal areas. That's what they were doing. But interestingly enough, we got the ruling, and we are going to pursue those 3 ones. We are not going to allow it to rest. You know, Domi Kwabenya is not part of these issues. So they've invited us tomorrow to come, IPAC, for that one alone, for the 3 polling stations, to deal with that one tomorrow. And your guess is as good as mine. Like I told you the other time, it's not an issue. It won't even get to 10 minutes in trying to resolve that one, because we have a good case. We have the pink sheets, and we'll present it to them tomorrow, so that the Domi Kwabenya will be out of the.
Because I recall that
will declare.
I see. Yesterday we had indication that there was supposed to be an IPAC meeting today to take a decision on this Domi Kwabenya and then Ablekuma North. And it appears the IPAC meeting didn't happen today, as was scheduled.
Yes, because of the Supreme Court ruling today. I mean, all of us were in the Supreme Court. Bossman and Tete and Co, they were there at the Supreme Court. Okay, so there was no way we could have it. In fact, they gave us a message that tomorrow we'll have the IPAC meeting to deal with Domi Kwabenya and Ablekuma North. But after the ruling, they took out the Ablekuma North because the court quashed that thing they were trying to do. So as we speak now, the only issue on their table is the Domi Kwabenya, which they can deal with because no court issues is affecting Domi Kwabenya. And so we can deal with that one tomorrow as they invite us. But those other ones, they smuggle inside. And you heard what the trial judge said when the laws were given their orders. And so we'll deal with that one on a different level. We'll deal with that one.
Okay, so you're going to deal with Ahafano Southwest, where the Eric Nana Ajuman Prempeh was declared as MP-elect as against Eduse Kwesi, that's your candidate. And then also what we saw in WASSCE East. So those 2, you're going to deal with them at a different forum, from what we understand.
Yes, that's it.
And when is that process going to start? When is that process going to start? Because already you're racing against time. The 9th Parliament is going to be sworn in on the dawn of January 6th into January 7th. We have just a few days away. So if you're going to deal with it on a different forum, when is that process going to start?
Very soon. In fact, our lawyers, as we speak, they are in business. They are in conclave, trying to put the documentations together. You know, the court gave us 2 days to do the filing. Okay, so as we speak, they are in conclave. I've just forwarded some documents and information to them about the cases, and they are working on that. They are seriously working on it. I can assure you, within the 2 days, we are going to you see a semblance of it. And the issues that they asked us to go back to court on 31st, you see the argument we are going to put out there. That mandamus, you see, mandamus is a writ that is calling on the state institution to perform their action that they are not performing. You see, that is what they are trying to do, and we will let the court get to understand that those actions were performed, not that they didn't perform. They performed those actions.
I see.
Those actions were performed by their assignees, who are the returning officers. That is what the law says. The CI want to say they assign those roles to the returning officers, and they perform those actions on their behalf. So if somebody goes to court in a writ of mandamus, now forcing that the EC has refused to perform certain action, who told you they didn't perform those actions? So there's a documented evidence to show that they performed those actions. It's just that you are not satisfied with the action.
Well, yes. So the Electoral Commission has held consistently. Section 43 is what you're making reference to, CI 127.
The Electoral Commission,
yes. But the Electoral Commission has consistently indicated that yes, their officers fulfilled requirements under Section 43, but under circumstances that invalidates the process and, in fact, the outcome of it being duress, and then also in some cases pink sheets not being complete, and then declarations made. They have consistently held that as a result of those instances, it invalidates the outcome. In fact, it did not follow due process. That's been their verdict, is it not?
Alfred, it doesn't lie in their mouth. They don't have those powers. They don't have those powers. That is the problem we have with them. And that's why I always describe them as lawless institutions. They don't have those powers. In fact, if you go and take PNDC law 284, subsection 16 and 20, it talks about the issue they are just raising. If you allege that somebody did a declaration through intimidation or duress, or they didn't complete the declaration process and declarations were made, the environment to go is the High Court. Under our Constitution, that is Article 99(1), the High Court had jurisdiction over that matter. So that is the time we will now cross-examine those people. They'll put them in dock. For us to cross-examine them, to solicit whether they were actually forced to do the announcement or not. These are the issues. They know it. It is not the Madam Jean Mensah and Tete or Bossman who should go and be doing those things. They don't have that power. When you force them and ask them, okay, show me under the CI 127 where you have the power to say that the processes did not follow due process, or they were made, and so we have the power to recollect. My brother, I wish you get him online. Said it this afternoon. There is no recollation in our electoral system. There's nothing like that.
Okay.
It is only High Court that can call for a recollation by setting aside a collation system done at the collation center. Or setting aside a declaration.
Right. And just for the benefit, just for the benefit of our viewers, and we're going to pull up the specific PNDC law that you make reference to, and this is going to be on the screen right now. And this is the PNDC law 284. That's what you reference, correct?
Yes, 284, subsection 20.
Subsection 20 is what you have here. Grounds for challenging election results. The election of a candidate shall be declared void on an election petition if the High Court is satisfied, A, that general bribery, general treating, general intimidation, or other misconduct or circumstances, whether similar to those specified in this law or not, have so extensively prevailed that they may be reasonably supposed to have affected the result of the election. So the grounds for cancelling election results is quite clear here. Bribery, general treating, general intimidation. And that brings in what the Electoral Commission has been talking about, Dr. Ashitanko.
That is what I'm saying.
A number of their officers, they say, made these declarations under duress, intimidation, or any other circumstance that not specified in the law. So you're saying, if that's the case, it's the High Court to determine that, and not the Electoral Commission, because the law is quite clear.
Alfred, that is what I've been saying. You see, I'm vindicated. The law is there. And they know this. That's why I'm saying that they shouldn't constitute themselves into judges. That is not their it doesn't fall within their mandate. If I'm aggrieved, I'll come by petition to a High Court and invoke this subsection you have just read to the general public. So that the High Court will look at it. They will assess it, the evidence before them. But you don't come on mandamus and you are forcing the Electoral Commission that you think that the process were not duly followed and that they must go and do recollation for you because they have refused to collect. And who told you they did it? They have declared the results. The evidence are there. Now anyway, you only have this window. They should go there. Okay. And they shouldn't be constitute themselves into some lawless institution and getting away with it. We are not going to allow it.
Let's hear from Gary Nemakon, who is private legal practitioner, lead counsel for the NPP candidates who also were before the Supreme Court earlier today. Take a look.
NDG said they were not heard on the application. They came to court to say that they were not heard. The court said it's a fundamental rule to be heard. So go back to the court and have your matter heard. So it's simplicity. We are going back on Tuesday. They will file their response, okay, on why they think that there was collation or there was no collation. The court will hear the matter, make an order for EC to go and make collation in a declaration. That is the point. So it's not about recollation. So this word recollation, there is no collation at all.
Well, so that's Gary Nemakon there, essentially making the point that there was no collation, even to talk about declaration. Dr. Tanko.
Well, that is what I'm talking about. We have evidence, and that's what wanted to join the matter and ask the trial judge to watch it and see whether there were declarations or there were not declarations. These are returning officers who held the Form 1D, which is a summary sheet, and announced results from it, and held the hands of our candidate that they were validly elected as parliamentary candidates. That's their rules. This was done. Now somebody is not satisfied with the declaration and ran to Electoral Commission office, the commissioners, asking that they should come and do a recollation. And they also constituted themselves into judges and determined that they were done under duress, and therefore they didn't follow procedure. So come back, let's do another collation. To the extent that they even appointed officers in the morning to do recollation and announce them as winners. That was a complete charade. If it's not charade, okay. I don't know how you describe it again.
Right. So you're saying
that is the issue we are talking.
Okay, great. So you're saying that in the cases of Fantiakwa North and then also the case of WASSCE East and then Ahafo Southwest, these three constituencies, you are going to challenge the outcomes as was declared by the Electoral Commission at a different forum. We'll wait for how the coming days will look like on this. Yeah, so Tuesday,
Alfred,
yes.
Not
Tuesday,
that one
in a minute. Yes.
In Sawam Adwajiri.
But in Sawam Adwajiri, why is that? Because today you had a second application. You had a second application before the Supreme Court. And you withdrew that application.
We are going to challenge it.
But you withdrew that application today.
We'll come with another application.
So why did you withdraw this one? Why did you withdraw the second one?
Yeah, we withdraw it because, it didn't fall within the ambit of the recollation redeclaration they are talking about. Because those ones were not, they didn't finish their collation process.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, they didn't finish. So it was within the ambit of our lawyers to strike that one. And I was happy the Supreme Court strike that one out.
Right.
So that it will give us ample time to deal with that one on a separate leave. After Fantiakwa of this in Kufridwa High Court, we have filed a process there to deal with that matter. The Fantiakwa of. Okay. So that one is being handled with a different thing. But Sawam Adwajiri or WASSCE East, Ahafo Southwest, we are coming with another process to deal with it. We won't allow them. These are illegal declarations made for them.
Okay.
And we'll stop it.
We'll see how the coming days will look like. Thank you. Dr. Tanko Computer, Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC. You heard also Gary Nemakon there. So let's go to Teiman South right now. This evening, the residents there have been reacting to this outcome of the Supreme Court decision today. Take a look.
And the aftermath of the elections in the Teiman South constituency, which had the NDC's parliamentary candidate as the winner of the constituency seat. The later recollation from the EC side had the MP's incumbent MP in the person of Teiman South as the winner declared by the EC. A recent development this afternoon by the Supreme Court says it does not agree with the High Court's demand, which gave the EC the right to do the recollation for the Teiman South constituency. According to the Supreme Court, it finds the EC's recollation as null and void. It is therefore ordering the High Court to give another hearing to the NDC side.
Just a course Accra LED by Robo 3,000 votes. There's a course on I win. But meaning, maybe I say, I'm person far. Plutuna see the say you are for the meeting because of NDC about power and tira. I may be a open some years near the meeting or any say a course on I win. His name so declare a Supreme Court. By the open input to the input to the brain. This is the minimum say. Since I may many fee, I'm the Teiman High Sea. So far, the cost and amount say why never be bride and I'm at Teiman. The minimum no, the minimum who know me.
I am here with Bono East Regional Communications Officer in the person of Mustafa Mohammed Suleiman. I'm here to take his take on the Supreme Court's order. Good evening.
Good evening, Bella.
How do you take the Supreme Court's order?
I would say the ruling by the Supreme Court is a judgment for democracy because aftermath of the declaration at Teiman South, the EC called for recollation at the national level, which we felt wasn't proper because we filed an ex parte injunction to join, and none of our evidences were even looked at. The judge went ahead to give the ruling that they should go ahead and do the recollation. We did not appear because we felt we have been shortchanged. Immediately, our head of legal committee, in the person of lawyer Yagbonwura Temako, in fact, he did very well. Immediately, he filed at the Supreme Court, though with even a stay of execution.
Oh, there you have it. That's Belinda, who's Bono East correspondent there, giving us details of the reactions in the Teiman South constituency. But we'll keep an eye on how things play out on this matter. But coming up next year on Ghana Tonight, the West African Examination Council, they've confirmed receiving an additional 35 million cedis from the Ministry of Education to facilitate the processing of the 2024 WASSCE results. Now, this follows a public exchange between the ministry and WAEC after the ministry urged the council's PRO to verify facts internally before making statements that could also mislead the public or undermine the ministry's efforts. But earlier today, on 3FM 92.7, that's Hot Edition, which airs Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. to 6:30, I spoke to John Kapi, who heads the public relations of the West African Examination Council, to first confirm whether they've received this 35 million and whether the results of the WASSCE will be that's released before the end of the year. Take a look.
There was a meeting between the minister, the director of finance of WAEC, and a few other employees of the ministry, and then a check for 35 million was issued. This morning, our director of finance was able to go through the process and get the checks deposited appropriately in our account. So I can say that, yes, we have received the 35 million from the Ministry of Education.
So effectively 60 million, that's the 25 earlier, and then this 35 million on Christmas Day, out of the 118 million.
That is correct.
Is that enough to repair the broken down scanners and cater for the debts that government owes you?
Well, earlier we had indicated that, because of the urgency with which results were needed so that the universities could do their admissions, we did some kind of projection, and we realized that if we got a 35 million in addition to a 25, we would be able to go through the process and get the results out so that the candidates will be able to go to school. But then there are a few other financial obligations that we have. And so the 58 million that is still left, we would need that money to be able to finish or be able to pay the people that we owe, people who provided some assistance for us to be able to work out and then get the results out.
But then will the results be released on the 28th or 29th, as was earlier assured by the Minister of Education?
I think earlier I debunked that assertion because, and again, I stand by what I said, that it was an announcement made without any consultation with the WAEC. But now that we have the money, we've been able to get our technicians to work on the broken down scanners. They are working. I was myself at the office today, and we are projecting that by the end of this month, yes, we'll be able to work, be able to read the results. But then I wouldn't want to be able to confirm the day 29th as that which was said by us and the ministry, no.
So for the parents listening to us right now, the results will not be declared on the that's released, I beg your pardon, on the 29th of December.
Well, for now, we are working with machines, and so we don't want to be very specific because otherwise, when there are challenges, it will be as though you've lied to the public. But then what we're saying is that certainly by the close of this month, we should be able to release the results.
That's the assurance from WAEC by end of this month, which is 31st of December to Tuesday, next week Tuesday, they would release the results. But Peter Nochukotoi, the Honourable Member of Parliament, is actually the ranking on the Education Committee of this 8th Parliament. Appreciate your time. Honourable, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Yeah, good evening, and how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you for asking. First off, so this is the latest from WAEC. They've received a total of 60 million, even though they're owed 118 million. They say that they can work with it to be able to release the results by end of year or end of month. How does this strike you?
Well, thank you very much. I am happy that at least the ministry has been able to realize that there was the need to release enough money to WAEC to enable it finish the scanning and then release the results in time. What is important is that the academic calendar of the universities or the tertiary institutions might not be very much affected. But why do we wait until pressure is put on the government agency to enable it perform its functions? I think that is what the ministry has failed or has disappointed us, because my information is that enough money had been released to the Free SHS Secretariat to enable it to pay all outstanding indebtedness. And WAEC is one agency that should have been given a priority because its functions or obligations are time-bound. And if releases are made in time, we will also get results released in time. So, well, it's good enough, but what is important now is how soon will the remaining 58 million Ghana cedis be released so that technical technicians can be paid, supervisors, and other posts release of education activities done before the end of the year. So that's where the problem is. I think the ministry can still do better than they have done now.
Going forward in dealing with this matter, because by the end of the year, government will still be owing WAEC just around over 50 million. So before this 8th Parliament is dissolved, is this a matter that you would pursue for WAEC to get their money?
Yes. Last week when Parliament met, I raised the issue in a statement that the Speaker admitted, and the Minister was to appear before the House, but he didn't do so. So I'm going to raise the issue on the 2nd January again for the Minister to appear before the House and then brief us. The 58 million is not the only money that the ministry is owing. There's about 4.9 million Ghana cedis also left as a balance on the BEC, which must also be paid. So if you put the two together, it's going to be about 63 million Ghana cedis. So going forward, I'll raise the issue on the floor on 2nd January so that the minister should come and brief us what he had done so far with the balance.
I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for this update. And 2nd January certainly will be there to update our listeners and viewers on this. Peter Nochukoto is Member of Parliament for the Akachi North constituency. He's a ranking on the Education Committee of this 8th Parliament. Thank you for connecting with us. This is Ghana Tonight. We're back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us.
Every step of life's unpredictable journey, every moment counts. That's why you need a partner you can always trust for solutions, so you can be rest assured. Having impacted over 200,000 lives, processed over 4.2 million claims, partnered with over 400 corporations, paid out over 836 million Ghana cedis in claims, contracted over 1,600 healthcare facilities nationwide, and pioneered several innovations like free medicine delivery, an interactive mobile app, and more. You'll be surprised what can be accomplished in 20 years. We're part of the Nationwide family. Are you? Nationwide Medical Insurance. 20 years of leading the way.
You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint. Simply superior. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint. Simply
This October to December, King's Furniture says thank you Ghana. Enjoy a whopping 25% off on all our domestic kitchen, wardrobes and sofas. Upgrade your home with the finest furniture crafted right here in Ghana. And for your office, we're offering 20% discount on all office furniture because your workspace deserves the best. Whether it's for home or office, now's the time to make your space truly yours and give the gift of comfort and style to your loved ones. Hooray! Promo is from October 1st and ends December 31st, 2024. Visit King's Furniture Showroom today and enjoy these incredible discounts. Locate us in Accra, Kisima, adjacent Melco and Takrade, Tanokrum, Paipan, right opposite Connect FM, or call us on 050-150-5507 Accra and 050-133-2327. King's Furniture sets a standard. And a big thank you to Ghana.
Franco Mobia Fisher Park, Bronya Chedia Yugusuya Chenoma, Mesaka Bradu Abaya Frosses. Simon and Wakasaka Siam no Hamame. Okay, Franco say ya better phone wahanti, Yancha Wonoma, and from Mount Official Park. Did it? At the end of the man. Franco see Yancha. It's your mouth mobile phone for your mouth key holder. Yasamo t-shirt to the account. Oh, check camera in the Kabibi and check Franco Mame. Go stronger and stronger.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Chesena me ankasa me period no say problems wom tina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chesena nya asem ketewa na mkwan point no mhwe me modem no mhwe bibia na so mo medu me fae no ene ma won kra me enu foforo kwa na mkwan mu a eba.
And everything yourself.
Me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante and then call endpoint. Omama nura, and then the white dear, what's me sorry ananti.
That's endpoint for you.
Of Akrabato.
Hello.
Hey, Oshisha what chair?
Okay.
A free bra with the endpoint what dance. I'm a choir no. Me Johnson say my name Koye and pass one of my rain and then Magina Sabema. Now me be here for the hard in Jarisa.
You heard everything. I have secret. Endpoint is my secret. Endpoint homeopathy clinic. I'm free.
Through every step of life's unpredictable journey, every moment counts. That's why you need a partner you can always trust for solutions, so you can be rest assured. Having impacted over 200,000 lives, processed over 4.2 million claims, partnered with over 400 corporations, paid out over 836 million Ghana cedis in claims, contracted over 1,600 healthcare facilities nationwide, and pioneered several innovations like free medicine delivery, an interactive mobile app, and more. You'll be surprised what can be accomplished in 20 years. We're part of the Nationwide family. Are you? Nationwide Medical Insurance, 20 years of leading the way.
Welcome back. Coming up, the New Patriotic Party has suspended 184 members in the Yendi constituency, citing breaches of the party's constitution. The decision, effective December 26, 2024, was made unanimously at an expanded constituency executive committee meeting held on December 23, 2024. Now, the meeting included the constituency executives, the Council of Elders of the party, the Council of Patrons, and also the disciplinary committee members of the MPP. This is in the Yendi constituency. And bear in mind, this particular Yendi constituency is one that the MPP lost because there was an independent candidate who contested the NPP, that is candidate there, that's according to the party, contributed to the defeat that the party experienced in that particular constituency. And so as a result, they have taken this decision. But this is it. Based on the details of the letter that we got today, they say that they've taken the decision in accordance with Article 3, Clause 91, 71, and 81 of the party's constitution, and as amended with effective based on the adverse findings against them by the constituency executive committee and the disciplinary committee. And these decisions, according to the statement we got earlier, were made unanimously at an expanded constituency meeting held earlier today. The leadership of the party received several complaints from other party members against the said persons in the form of petitions for a breach of the party's constitution. And these petitions from the individuals were thoroughly deliberated and resolution adopted at the end of the meeting, in which adverse findings were established against certain individuals in the just ended presidential and parliamentary elections. The adverse findings, per the complaints made through petitions submitted against the said persons, were standing as an independent candidate against the officially elected parliamentary candidate of the party. So that's one of the issues that led to this, one of the 184 persons being suspended. One MPP that's member there who has a very strong representation in that constituency, contested as an independent candidate, got a number of votes, shoved off that which Farouk Mahama, who was the incumbent MP, got in this election, eventually leading to his defeat. So, see the NDC winning this Yendi constituency, and they've taken a decision on that, and then also joining or declaring their support for another political party, supporting an independent candidate in the just ended December 7, 2024 election. So, these persons who have been suspended are those who declared openly their support for the NPP member who contested as an independent candidate in this Yendi constituency. Christopher Marcos, my colleague in the Northern Savannah region, he's going to be joining us in our subsequent bulletins with some more details on this, getting reactions from the people on the ground. on this latest development. But I want to say thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Join me tomorrow morning for The Key Point. As always, The Key Point goes straight to the key issues that are of concern to you, the Ghanaian people. We assemble the right minds to speak your language. And this is it. Tomorrow, there are two issues on the table. The Supreme Court quashing the recollated results for 4 constituencies, and then the decision by the NPP to set up a committee to probe election defeat. These are the people who are going to be my guests tomorrow on The Key Point. So make a date. Join us from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. That is the show that you would always want to make some time and join us. But after Key Point in the evening, I'm personally inviting you to the all-white party, the 3FM all-white party. If you want to be part of it, it's not too late. We have a few tables left for you. Call these two numbers, 053-11-00927, 053-11-00927, or 053-22-00927, 053-22-00927, and be part of the official end-of-year shutdown party. That's how we call it. On behalf of the rest of the team, thank you so much for staying with us here on Ghana Tonight. Join me tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for The Key Point. I'm Alfred Conce. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.